Hello everyone and welcome to Learn TV, a show dedicated to the learning and development industry. I am Philip, your host for this broadcast, and today we have the pleasure to present to you the corporate trainer and executive coach Baheej Fanoos. He has a highly proven track record of professional and training experience. During the last 11 years, he has had the privilege to train and coach over 3,500 professionals across more than 33 of the largest organizations in the MENA region, as well as serve 26 industries across 7 different countries. He specializes in soft skills and considers the learning and development field as his passion. Baheej, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you as our guest.
Thank you, Philip. It's my pleasure. And congratulations on your new TV channel.
Thank you. Let's start with making a distinction between training and coaching. What are the differences between the two?
Very good question. Big differences. Number one, coaching is usually done one-on-one, whereas training is done in a group. So that's the number one distinction. The second distinction is that coaching usually has a certain number of sessions, which varies between 8 to 12 sessions, whereas training is really conducted on the short run. So, for example, you want to conduct a workshop on leadership. When it comes to training, you would set up a workshop for 4 to 5 days. Whereas if you want to coach somebody, you would schedule at least between 8 to 12 sessions during several months. On the other hand, the number of hours also varies. Coaching usually goes from 1 to 3 hours max per day, whereas training is conducted usually on an average of 6 hours. It could go a bit less, it could go a bit more, depending on the type of program and the requirements. Also, coaching or training, really focuses on the transfer of knowledge. The trainer is concerned with teaching and developing a specific skill, whereas coaching focuses on unlocking already existing potential and overcoming obstacles. So training is knowledge transfer focused, whereas coaching helps really the individual progressing. So those, I would say, would be the main differences between the two, even though they are complementary and both fall under the umbrella of learning and development.
How does coaching complement the training industry?
Very good question. So just continuing on the first part or the first question, coaching and training go hand in hand. Basically, there are two complementary strategies. Usually, we start by training and then we follow by coaching. So they really balance each other. So to put it in another way, coaching would be the zoom in, the zoom in of the strategy. Again, both are aimed at developing employees, and both are basically used in different circumstances, different situations, even if it's for the same individual.
How do you see the progress of the training industry in Saudi Arabia?
I believe the progress has been exponential in Saudi Arabia, especially during the last couple of years with the announcement of 2030. Saudi Arabia is really on the global competitive map right now with regard to human resource development, and is really up to date regarding the best practices and latest trends of the industry. Similarly, some of the largest budgets that were allocated by the Saudi government during the last couple of years were allocated on education as well as human resource development. Last but not least, during the announcement of the 2022 Saudi budget, the government was crystal clear that the focus will be on service improvement. What do we mean by service improvement? Well, it means more demand for training, because there is no way you can improve the service if you do not train the task force.
Is coaching as present there as it is in other countries?
Absolutely. Just like I was saying for the training industry, coaching is very much present in Saudi Arabia, and the awareness of the importance of coaching has constantly increased. In addition, the requirements for coaches, has become more and more rigorous throughout the years. To give you an example, maybe 5, 6, or 7 years ago, Being an ICF accredited coach was not a necessity. But nowadays it's an absolute must, and organizations, companies, or clients, whatever you want to name them, are very much aware now of the best practices and requirements regarding the coaching industry.
Is the training industry progressing same across the entire MENA region, or is there a difference in pace in different countries?
Very good question. In my personal opinion, I would definitely say there is a difference in pace, and this is related, logically speaking, to the size of the economy as well as the competitiveness level of the economy. So, in my modest opinion, I would believe right now in the region, the top three main players are Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Qatar, followed by the rest. So, to mention Kuwait, Bahrain, and Oman. Of course, this is an unofficial ranking, but again, if we think of it from a rational point of view, the larger and the more competitive the economy, the more the demand will be on training.
What are the latest trends in learning and development in Saudi Arabia?
Well, the latest trends in Saudi Arabia are pretty much similar to the latest trends on a global level. Number one, we're definitely going to be witnessing an increase in remote learning and digitalization. Now, this was already felt during the heart of the pandemic. It was a kind of a catalyst, an acceleration. But now we're going to be witnessing even more with the improvement of technological tools. Second, people have become accustomed during the pandemic to remote learning and digitalization, and there is more acceptance now towards the subject. Now, of course, that does not mean that remote learning is gonna fully replace face-to-face. Absolutely not. At the end of the day, there's always the human factor that comes into place, but it's gonna be really more present than ever within the industry. The second, I believe, a trend would be the increased use in artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is very useful to collect data, whether it is for training needs analysis or post-training reports. So we're definitely going to be noticing that. We're also going to be witnessing an increase in interactive learning and gamification. Now, there are several platforms out there that facilitate that, such as, Padlet, Slido, Kahoot, just to name a few, that encourages and enhances the interactive, basically, experience of the trainees during a classroom. Also, we're gonna witness a revolution in what consists of reskilling and cross-skilling. Now, for our viewers, let's very briefly explain what do we mean by reskilling and cross-skilling. Of course, we are familiar with the term upskilling, which means basically adding to your already existing skills. Reskilling is basically resharpening or refine-tuning your existing skills based on new requirements. For example, a very good example of that would be a training on a Zoom, for example, Zoom platform. Zoom gets upgraded every now and then. So if I already took a training on how to use Zoom 1 year ago, now I have to do a retraining. I have to retrain again so that I can refamiliarize myself with the new options that are available within the platform. That's just a very small example. Cross-skilling, on the other hand, is basically acquiring new skills, adjacent skills that will enable me as an employee to assist other departments. Also, we're going to see an increase in mobile learning. It's very common nowadays in our workshops for trainees to utilize their mobile phones to basically scan a QR code on the screen and access a certain platform that would be interactive. So mobile learning is constantly on the rise. It's relatively new compared to the history of the training industry, of course, but it's going to become the new normal. It already has become, in my opinion, the new normal. Last but not least, we're going to witness a definite increase in AR and VR. What is AR? What is VR? It's basically augmented reality and virtual reality. Now, for our viewers, let's briefly explain what do we mean by augmented reality. Augmented reality is when you perceive your surrounding environment in a real manner as it is, but you have few added, basically, technological guidelines that has been added to it. So to give a very simple example of that, imagine you are driving a car. So you see your surrounding environment as it is, but you have an additional screen that will basically give you directions and arrows and indicators while you are driving. That's augmented reality. Whereas virtual reality is a completely technological simulation that's also used in the learning and development field. A very specific, indicator of the increase in AR and VR is basically the upcoming metaverse, which is basically now the mother company of Facebook. During the announcement of the metaverse, it has been announced that organizations will have the chance to use the metaverse to their advantage, whether it is for learning development or other.
What happens to organizations who consider training and development as an unnecessary luxury?
Very good question. Well, I believe in that case, the organization is affected negatively. Training and development, in my opinion, is not a luxury. It's a definite core of any organization. If you want to strive in an ever competitive market, you definitely need to develop your staff through training and development or coaching. Similarly, organizations, in my opinion, who do not invest in their people will somehow lose loyalty of their staff. When you are an employee and you're employed by any organization, you're expected to have a minimum kind of investment in you from the organization. And if you're not basically investing in training and development, you're going to be losing that part as well.
Soft skills are starting to enjoy the spotlight more in recent years. How important are soft skills to the success of working professionals and organizations as well?
Again, very good question. Soft skills or interpersonal skills, as we call them, are extremely important to the success of both professionals and organizations. Now, let's take it one by one. Let's start by professionals. First, for those who do not know what we mean by soft skills, we're concerned with skills like communication skills, teamwork, leadership, emotional intelligence, time management, multitasking, dozens and dozens of different topics that are basically aimed at leveraging the efficiency and effectiveness of a professional. And when we say efficiency and effectiveness, systematically we're concerned with productivity. Okay, so number one, an increase in productivity of the professional. Number two, a definite leverage in the customer service quality of the professional. He'll be able to serve both his internal and his internal and external customers better. Number three, you're going to have an increase in self-confidence, okay? Because when you develop your leadership skills, when you develop your communication skills, when you develop your emotional intelligence, you feel better in your skin. Therefore, you are more confident when it comes to communicating with clients, when it comes to presentations, or even communicating with upper management. Soft skills helps improve job satisfaction. Because when you have better communication, you have less conflicts. You have less conflicts between departments and in between colleagues, and this is gonna basically increase your job satisfaction. Soft skills improves team dynamics at the same time. The dynamics of a team gets smoother. The productivity of a team gets leveraged, as we said earlier. Also to add, with regard to professionals, they will have an increased ability to adapt. So we know that in any organization or in any working environment, you constantly have new variables that come into place, and change is basically constant. So when I have excellent soft skills, I'm able to manage my stress level better. So for example, when I have better time management, better multitasking skills, I'm able to manage myself better and therefore better control the level of stress. So a greater ability to adapt. And last but not least, it's going to leverage the professional image, which is extremely important for any working professional. You want to have the best professional image possible within your organization and when dealing with clients.
And what about the organizations?
Yeah, exactly. So if professionals are benefiting, basically, so is the organization. So when the productivity of professionals is increasing, their self-confidence is increasing, the team dynamics are improving, it's to the benefit of the organization. So the organization is going to experience more efficient and effective operations. It's going to witness a reduced turnover and increase job loyalty, and basically, if all goes well, it's going to get reflected positively on the end of the year profit.
From your experience, what would you recommend to individuals considering a career in corporate training?
Excellent question. First, you must have really a passion for presenting. You must have a passion for presentations. You must have a passion to transfer knowledge to other individuals. Now, for those who are still, at high school or university levels, I would suggest to assess themselves whether they really like presentations or not. If you do not like presentations during your university years, say, there is a good chance you're not going to like them later on in life. So number one, have a passion for presenting. Number two, I would say, is specialize in a very well-defined field. To become a corporate trainer, you need to be a specialist in a specific field, such as IT, finance, business, maybe health, safety, and environment. Whatever it is, you need to be specialized. Because later on, if you become a corporate trainer, you're going to be delivering training programs that are related to your field of specialty. Number three, I would say do your research. Do your research on LinkedIn. Browse through corporate trainers' profiles. Take a look at their career path. What have they gone through? How did they start and how did they end up as corporate trainers? Number four, I would say, know what are the requirements and the pros and cons of becoming a corporate trainer. Being a corporate trainer is not all sunshine and rainbows, like some people think. Yes, there are lots of beautiful things about being a corporate trainer, but there are also lots of challenges and requirements. And some of those challenges could require, for example, extensive traveling, up to exhausting levels, standing up on your feet for long hours during the day, having to deal with different personalities during the training workshop. So again, you need a very high emotional intelligence. So those are some of the challenges that are required to be a successful corporate trainer. Last but not least, I would recommend just do your homework. Do your homework as much as you can. Read articles related to becoming a corporate trainer. With passion and self-confidence, hard work, and a bit of luck, you should be fine.
Baheej, thank you for sharing your insights. It was a pleasure to have you on the show.
It was my pleasure. Thank you for having me, Philip.
A big thanks to our viewers as well for staying until the end. Make sure to tune in again tomorrow for a new guest. If you have any further questions or topics that you would like to know more about, let us know and we will review them with our content team. In the meantime, check out our YouTube and Vimeo channels for all the other episodes. Until next time, stay tuned.